Hello everyone! Believe it or not, an OSL Round of 16 is rapidly approaching, so I thought I'd release a little preview video, tell you a bit about the players in each group, and outline the format of the OSL's Round of 16. Despite the unorthodox Round of 24 opening for the OSL's Round of 16 will remain as it has for many seasons. It is a round-robin format, meaning every player in a group of 4 plays every other player in the same group of 4, and the 2 with the most wins will move out into the round of 8. This system does allow for tiebreakers. You can have 3-man tiebreakers, 2-man tiebreakers, upper rung, lower rung tiebreakers, and they routinely happen, so expect them at the end of the round of 16. The race distribution for this OSL is 9 Zerg, 5 Terran, and 2 Protoss. Everyone panicking about the lopsidedness of one race is probably new to the sport, because it's really not all that unusual in OSL Round of 16s. Just to pick a couple examples, I commentated the Ever OSL 2009, and that had 8 Zerg players in it, and I remember the 2007 Ever OSL that had 9 Terran players in the Round of 16. And the thing those two OSLs have in common is that none of the players in the predominant race made it to the finals. The Ever OSL 2007 was Jaedong versus Stork final. Ever OSL 2009 was Flash versus Movie. So you never know what's going to happen. In fact, I'd say it's worse for Zerg players, seeing as though there are so many of them, because everyone will be practicing against Zerg, including the Zerg. So what chance does Zerg have, really? Although through the law of averages, I'm sure that a couple of Zerg players are going to make it to those semifinals. Now let's look at the maps, all 4 maps that are going to be used in this round of 16. Of course, we have our returning New Bloody Ridge, our Mancha, Gladiator from the last OSL, and another returning favorite from the last OSL, Pathfinder. So we have 2 oldies and 2 newies. And none of these maps have any glaring imbalances. Of course, some of them are lopsided in certain races' favors, but just looking at the stats of all of them, I don't think that any matchup is insurmountable for a specific race on these maps. I'll definitely be interested to see how the 7 players from the other 2 races deal with the Zerg Stravaganza. Expect a lot of goofy builds and a lot of cheese. Okay, without further ado, let's move on to the groups. Group A is headed up by Fantasy, the winner of the last OSL, and he's joined by 2 other strong TVT players. So I do think we're going to see some spectacular TVT in this group. Sue is kind of an anomaly. He's been doing pretty well for his team in Pro League, but hasn't quite proven himself in individual leagues yet. And this group does include a team kill, which is Fantasy versus Sue. So that will be an uncomfortable situation for everyone involved. But I think the real focus of this group will be the Terran versus Terran. If I were to look at these 4 guys and have to make a guess on which 2 players are going to make it out of the group, I would probably have to say Fantasy and C. C is kind of a sketchy choice in any individual league because he just doesn't do well in individual leagues for whatever reason. He's a spectacular player, but he can never just step up to the plate, it seems. But I still do think it's a safe choice. Nothing against Hiya, of course. Hiya does have great TVT, has very good versus Zerg as well, so he's definitely up there as one of my choices to move out of the group. But I think Fantasy is probably a shoe-in, and C, maybe. Like I said, that's a shaky choice. If Sue wins, it would probably be an upset, but I'd say if you've watched the OSL for a long time, you're used to those upsets by now. Let's move on to Group B, the Group of Death. Stork, Flash, Hydra, and Shine. Very strong group. Very interesting group, too. Stork heads up this group as the second place winner from the last OSL, and he's joined by some stellar players. Obviously, Flash. Flash is the favorite in any league, any game, any match, any group. Flash is a favorite. So I'd say you can pretty much guarantee him getting out. Even with his recent wrist injury, he got some treatment for his wrist injury, so he hasn't been practicing as much. But Flash running at 1/3 power is still better than pretty much anyone else. Let's just be honest. And I'm actually scared for Stork in this group, even though this is his umpteenth million round of 16 in the OSL. And even though he has great versus Terran, I don't think he can really show his great versus Terran here. He's going up against Flash, who is ridiculous. So really, that's going to be a 50-50 on who wins that one. Stork has not been doing well recently, but that doesn't mean he can't step up his game for the individual leagues. Stork is also going up against his arch nemesis, Shine. He's had such trouble with Shine in the past. Maybe he can get together with Movie and figure out a way of taking down Shine. I know he won't be able to do that for Hydra, because Movie and Hydra are on the same team. But I have a feeling that Stork is going to have some major troubles in this group. And Hydra, of course, extremely good Zerg player. And it was just found out through an interview that Hydra is operating with one eye, which means he won an MSL with one eye. Just kind of ridiculous. And he just revealed this. He didn't reveal it in anything before he won his MSL, because he said, oh, it never came up in conversation, so why should I bring it up? But I think that fact makes him even more terrifying in the mind of his opponent. But as terrifying as Hydra can be, you know I can't not pick Stork. It would go against everything that I hold dear. So I gotta pick Stork and Flash to move out of this group into the round of 8. And hopefully Stork puts his glasses back on. Now let's look at Group C. Calm, baby, JangBi, and Killer. You'll get plenty of chances to hear that goofy voice in this round of 16, I'm sure. And this is another strong group. Calm is exceptional, always has been. Baby, the rising Terran star, just waiting to break out. JangBi has been rocking faces recently. It's just really surprising. It's almost as if JangBi heard me when I've been complaining about him for the last year and a half or so. I mean, I make a lot of jokes at JangBi's expense, but there's a reason for that. It's not because I hate JangBi. It's quite the opposite, really. I like JangBi as a player so much, and I think he's capable of so much more than he's been doing recently. Obviously, he made it to 2 MSL finals, but it wasn't able to get that gold. It's criminal almost that he hasn't been able to show his true level of play and to finally get a gold. So it's very encouraging to see him kicking ass again. He was the only Protoss player to get from the prelims to the round of 16. Stork was already there. He was already seeded, but JangBi fought his way up. Won the wild card, actually, and he's been winning tons of Pro League games for his team. So JangBi is back. Now, how long will he be back? We'll have to see. I would love to see him move into the round of 8, but there's really not much to base anything on, because JangBi hasn't been in an OSL round of 16 since before I started commentating. It's been a long time, so really anything could happen. And Killer, last but not least, Killer is becoming one of my favorite Zerg players just because of how, I don't know, plucky, I guess would be the word. Killer has rapidly worked his way up into my Zerg top 3, personally, so I will be rooting for him. JangBi is a favorite as well, so I'm going to have to go with JangBi and Killer to move out of this group. But like I said, this group is strong and very hard to call. And finally, Group D. This is Modesty, Hyvaa, Hyuk, and Jaedong. All Zerg, all the time. So this is a very bizarre group, almost impossible to predict who will move out of this group as well, because Jaedong used to have invincible ZVZ, but not so much anymore. There's a much better chance of someone like Modesty or Hyuk taking down Jaedong in this group. I mean, Hyuk took down Jaedong in one of the most important stages, one of the most important games of Jaedong's career in the Pro League Finals. So Jaedong will probably be wanting a little bit of revenge for that. But other than that, I'm going to throw my hands in the air and say, I have no idea what's going to happen in this group. I don't think anyone does. So I'm going to close my eyes, point at the screen, and... okay, Modesty and Jaedong move out of Group D. That is my prediction. So there you have it. Strange, Zerg-saturated OSL round of 16. There are definitely some bizarre groups in this OSL round of 16, so I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. So leave your predictions in the comment section, and I will read them in my commentaries. Feels like it's been a long time since I've done that. And this has been Nuke, champing at the bit for a round of 16. I will see you guys later. Go Stork!